So I've been on Linux, or more importantly, I've been on Arch Linux for about 3 months, give or take a week or so. And today what I wanted to talk about was any of the serious system problems I've had and programs that I'm actually running now after I've got a bit more experience using Linux. If you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe and ding the little bell icon down below because it'll really help the channel out. I'm trying to hit 100 subs by the end of the year and we are getting on track to hitting it by the end of November. So any help will be really appreciated. So now that's out of the way, let's get started. Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So if you follow my Twitter account or my Mastodon, you probably saw a while back that I posted about how I had a massive system problem. I still to this date have absolutely no idea what was causing the error, and I don't know what I'm going to do that's going to put me back into the situation or anything about it. So basically what happened was, some reason, my Wi-Fi stopped working, my cursor stopped working, and every time I opened up my terminal would just basically freeze while loading up the prompt. So I don't know what was causing this, and the thing that ended up fixing it, which confuses me, is all I did was delete my config folder. So if it was a virus or something, that wouldn't have fixed it, unless the developer of the malware was just that incompetent and just makes it so it spawns in one folder and one folder alone. So what I ended up trying to do, because I know that there was probably some way that I could have dealt with it by going through grub rescue or using the Arch installer and trying to go through my system like that, or I could have just loaded up without my X server. I just needed a working system as soon as possible because assignments were just around the corner and I just needed to get stuff done. I honestly was at the point where I was like, I might just install Manjaro and then deal with it later, but I pushed through and ended up actually just reinstalling Arch. So I got rid of my root partition, reinstalled Arch, reinstalled all the programs I wanted, and the problem was still there because I kept my home folder. So, as I said, what I ended up doing in the end was just deleting my config folder and everything worked fine. I brought back all of my other configs and no problem whatsoever. So, whatever the problem was, I have no idea what caused it. So, if you've ever experienced anything like that, let me know and maybe you have some solution for it that I didn't know about. So, besides that, my system has been really stable. So if people tell you that Arch Linux isn't stable, it is unless you do something dumb like I apparently did. Besides that problem, I have had 0 system crashes. I've had the occasional random program fail, but that's not a problem with Arch Linux, that's just a problem with the random app developers. So my window manager, I'm still using i3. I don't really have any plans to change it. i3 works well enough. I know that there are people who probably want me to be using DWM, especially for my Annoying the Suckless series that I've got in a random playlist. I think it's just called Annoying the Suckless Team, something like that. And I might use DWM at some point, but I don't really know. i3 does everything I need it to do, and I don't really feel like going through the process of getting DWM patched to work exactly the way I want it to work when i3 just does everything I need it to do. I use it as basically a very simple tiling window manager, so probably, maybe DWM would be fine then. If I just don't, I don't know, if anyone knows what the default layout for it is, let me know and I might check it out. But otherwise, basically all I need is a simple tiling window manager where I can just create some windows, resize them, don't really want to do anything else. Doesn't really matter what else I can do with it. My i3 blocks actually does need a little bit of work. Right now, when any of my scripts fail, particularly my weather script, it will fail really hard. So there's been a lot of times where it has just outputted the failure HTML onto my status bar, and that's not what I want to see happen. Other times it'll just print out nothing, which I guess is better, but it's not really a solution. But apart from that, everything's working fine with my i3 blocks bar. And did I say i3 status before? If I said status, I meant blocks. Besides that problem, there's nothing really that I want to add to it at this point. I've gone through and added emojis instead of having text for a lot of stuff, and that's only because I needed some extra space to add one other thing, and now that's been added, I don't really know what to do with it, to be honest. I might just leave it as it is for the time being, or maybe I'll swap to polybar at some point. That'd give me something interesting to do over the break. So for my terminal, I was originally using URXVT, like you are when you first install. I think it comes with Arch, not i3, yeah, because I doubt i3 would actually come with a terminal, so it probably comes with Arch. And I swapped that out, as you guys know, for ST a while back, and ST is a great terminal, especially once you get those patches that you want installed on it. So by default, it just works as a basic terminal, but it doesn't have things like scroll back or clear or just those simple things that you usually want. And now that I've got those added, I don't really have anything else I want to add to it, except for the X resources patch, which I've got some plans for a future video. So keep your eyes out for that one, and maybe you'll see something cool. So for my browser right now, I'm still using Firefox. I think the last time I did a video talking about my general Arch configuration, I was still using Firefox at that point. But I don't think I was using... No, I would have been using Vivaldi, I reckon. I don't know. Anyway, I've also got Brave installed, not because I like Brave, but because it is the least bad of the Chrome distributions that I've found, and I need it for vidIQ, because there is not a vidIQ version for Firefox for some reason. But as soon as there is, I'm completely dropping Brave. It's a perfectly fine browser, but I don't particularly want to be using a Chromium-based browser at this point. And the only other good alternative to Chromium is Firefox. So I guess we're stuck there. I have been considering trying out one of the FOSS-favored versions of Firefox, like IceCat or whatever else people are using at this point, but I haven't done that at this point. So my file manager is still Thunar as my graphical file manager, and I've also got a terminal file manager, and that is LF. I used to be using Ranger because I basically just stole my idea of coming over to Arch Linux from Luke Smith, like a good portion of people using Arch Linux at this point have done. So I've mentioned in previous videos why I use Thunar. Basically, it's because when I have my phone plugged in, it takes forever for my terminal file manager to actually load it up. Don't know why, but for some reason it just works perfectly fine on a graphical file manager. It might be something on my system, or it's some other reason, I don't know. But basically, I've got that there just for my phone. And for everything else, I just use LF, because LF is pretty much Ranger, minus the Python and minus the image previews. Only one of those is a bad thing. I reckon you can probably guess which one. So my editor, like my general text editor, is NeoVim at this point. It used to be Vim, never used Nano. I have used Nano, just not on this system. I find it harder to use than like Vim at this point. I know the hotkeys are on the screen, but I don't know any of them, so I'm way slower when I use Nano. And basically, I just don't want to use it. NeoVim is nice for doing things like notes. Like on my screen right now, I've got my notes for this video because I actually wanted to kind of prepare for this one, and I also use it for things like smashing out updates to my configs or changing some source code in ST. And that is about the extent of my programming in NeoVim. I guess I'll do some like random system configuration scripts as well, but I don't actually go and do like JavaScript development in NeoVim, for example. I have tried out SpaceVim because there was a viewer who suggested it, and I'm sorry, if you love SpaceVim, keep using it. But I wanted to tear my hair out as soon as I started using that application, because I pressed the space bar to bring up the command menu, and it takes like 2 seconds for it to open. I'm like, okay, maybe that was just a slow start. I tried again, the exact same thing happens. I'm like, okay, I'm going to uninstall this now because this will make me absolutely hate the application. So, not going to talk long about my code editor. You guys have heard it before. It's VS Codium. Love it or hate it. I love it. It's a great program. It is an Electron app, but it's pretty good, and I know that it's also made by Microsoft, but I don't really care because it's a good app. So I've talked about how I want to use a different video editor besides Kdenlive. I haven't tried it yet just because I've been busy with exams and work and assignments, and I just haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I have come across another one that I want to try out. So I've already mentioned that I want to try Olive, which I've checked out some videos for, and it seems like a pretty good editor, but I also want to try out Shotcut, and that seems to be more like a Premiere style editor, I guess, and it looks pretty cool, so I'll see what it's like. And I'm also thinking of doing a workflow sort of video with Kdenlive, so before I end up swapping to something else, I'll do that and then just show you guys how I'm actually making these videos. It's nothing special, but I think it would be a good video. So there's some things that I've been considering trying out. I have used Calcurse before as a calendar application, but I usually don't really find much use for it, but I might actually start doing that just as a way to keep track of the tasks that I want to get done, because there's a lot of times where I will have a lot of stuff I want to do in the day and then just end up forgetting about it. So maybe using that to actually just keep track of notes. If I come up with a way to seamlessly integrate it into my workflow, maybe, I don't know, I'll try to think about it, because it is a really cool application, and I might do a video on it at some point if I actually manage to work out a way to productively use it. And another program that I do want to try out as well is Thunderbird, because I don't particularly like using the Gmail client. I know I should probably swap from Gmail, but I've got everything attached to my Gmail account at this point, and it's so much work to actually get it moved. So, I don't know. I'll probably move to something else at some point. Don't know what, but if you got a suggestion for another email service, let me know and I'll try it out. And if I think it's good enough, I guess I can put the effort in to move everything off of my Gmail. But that's kind of the thing that's got me attached to it. There's just so much attached to my Gmail account that moving it at this point is going to take so long that I don't want to go through that effort, to be honest. And Gmail, it's terrible, but it's good enough, basically. So I've got a lot more system scripts now than I did a couple months back. I had a few that I had from back on my Windows days where I was basically just using Git Bash. I know that Cygwin exists now. I didn't know it was a thing back then. And I didn't feel like doing, Windows subsystem for Linux. But yeah, I've got a bunch more system scripts now. I've talked about a lot of them. There's a lot that I haven't, just because I don't think they'll make interesting videos. But there's probably some more in there that I think might. So I'll have a look through there, and if I find anything interesting, then I'll probably do a video on them. And I think the biggest change that I've had since I came from Windows and from my earlier days of using Arch, I am using the terminal a lot more now. There's obviously tons of graphical applications that I use, but I used to be afraid of just living in the terminal. Now I usually just use the terminal for most things, unless I guess I need something extra. So for my code editor, for example, like how I said I'm using VS Codium. Basically, I'm only using Codium because it comes with all those editing features that are really nice to use. And obviously, I'm not going to use a terminal-based web browser like W3M because an actual web browser has things that I really need. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I will use my terminal for most things, but only when I need to do some of the more, I guess, complicated tasks will I actually go and use a graphical tool. I don't actually shy away from using the terminal anymore. So I know that you guys aren't going to actually see this because there's probably going to be cuts when I go and edit this, but I just recorded that entire video in one long cut. So I think that maybe I have gotten better at this thing. A little bit at least, hopefully. At least better than the first time I did a video on switching to Arch Linux, which was way back. I'll put a video up in the corner. It is a horrendous video. Please don't go watch it. It's on my channel though, so if you want to, it'll be there. It's terrible though. It was back when I was recording in the shed. That was a fun time. I haven't done that in so long now. What is my hair doing? We good? No, we're not. Okay, I guess I'll end the video then. So, if you like this video, remember to smash that like button and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you got any ideas for just random things you want me to cover, let me know. And I think that I kind of did a more casual video this time. So, if you like this style, let me know and I'll try to do some more like this because it's a lot easier to do it like this, and I'll probably start preparing a bit more for them as well, because even just doing like 5 minutes of prep, just jotting down some notes, it makes it a lot easier to get all my thoughts together, and I think that has really helped with this video out. So if you want to see those videos when they come out, remember to subscribe and ding the little bell icon down below because it'll really help the channel out. And up on that corner, there will be a playlist for you guys to check out for whatever playlist I end up putting this video in. Probably miscellaneous Linux content at this point, but I might decide something else. So I think that's pretty much everything for this video, and I'm out.